Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official first episode of Finkle Cast. Now, if you listen to the episode prior to this, that was episode 0, or the introduction to the podcast. Now, this first episode will be a little longer than the ones to follow, but only because I have a lot to talk about. Now, I think a great place to start this podcast is the topic of the movie industry as a whole. In my opinion, the film industry is slowly declining. And it's only a matter of time until that slow decline becomes a rapid decline. I think I should go all the way back to the beginning and make this more clear. When movies and TV shows were first created, there was nothing to base it off of. There was nothing to go off of. It was just from scratch, and creators were making things brand new. Over the decades since the beginning of film, things continue to get better and the graphics continue to get greater. Went from black and white silent films to just black and white films with audio to colored films, and then continue to being some of the great CGI films we see today. But the fantastic part over the past 100 years of film was there was nothing to build it off of, so everything was original. Now, there was that large period of time where everything was just Western because they had nothing else to create off of. But now, I think in this period of time we're in, everyone is at a writer's block. Obviously, today's time, there are things that are still original. There are new stories, but it's also basing off of so much that we already have seen. We want to see new stuff. There needs to be new things, brand new stories, and things that are original. For example, I absolutely love Star Wars, but the sequels, in my opinion, were absolute garbage. Now, obviously, that is my opinion, and if you enjoy the sequels, I am extremely happy for you because you can do something that I cannot. But I think a very big issue was that they had someone create Star Wars movies who did not know Star Wars. I mean, you have so many years of Star Wars content that was created to build off of, and you don't know Star Wars, so you can't do it correctly. They couldn't create something brand new out of the vast galaxies that they could have created from. And instead, they made little copies and mirrored the original trilogy, which was so unnecessary. They had a great opportunity to create something brand new, something original, as I keep saying, but it's just so important that things can still be original. But it seems like the creators nowadays are new creators trying to get into that film world, and they don't have an original thought, which is unfortunate. But there are definitely some good writers out there, and there are some good creators, but they need to somehow, some way, forget what they've learned or what they've experienced and create new things. Story creators and movie creators, I think, are just everyone, people like me and everyday people who have actually gotten to that position of filmmaking. But all of the movies they've seen, they've tried to put all into one story and grab pieces and stuff, which is fine, but do it properly instead of just remaking movies we've already seen. Now, I'm a full believer that in the coming years, we are going to see the fans making the movies. I mean, if you go on YouTube and look up Star Wars or Marvel or fan films of any kind, those are some of the greatest things I've ever seen. I mean, it's insane what fans can actually achieve, because I think that's what needs to be left to for the future is the fans creating the content, because the fans know what they want, and the fans have involved themselves more in Star Wars than the people who are actually in charge of Star Wars. Disney makes some cool stuff, but they are just a company looking to make money, unfortunately. And I'm scared to see what they're going to do in the future with The Mandalorian Season 3 and Obi-Wan Kenobi, but we'll see what happens. But I think the same thing goes for Amazon. Amazon is just looking to make money, so they really don't care what they're making. They're just trying to get the content out there to get a nice bill. And I'm scared to see. I am the biggest fan for Lord of the Rings, and Amazon is scaring me because I'm in fear that they're going to ruin the Lord of the Rings that we all know and love. But I'm not going to get too deep into that because I haven't seen it yet, and I've only seen one trailer, so we'll see what happens with that into the future. But I think if these big companies like Amazon or Disney or Marvel with Disney, just if they stopped to take time to listen to their fans and to gather ideas from everyone and to hire maybe like 10 fans per season of a show and gather some new information and new ideas, it would go a long way and it would create some of the best content we've ever seen, because we need something new and something that isn't a carbon copy of something else. Now, I think one last good example for this topic would be that of the Game of Thrones TV show. You have an entire series that was created perfectly. I mean, I think it was perfect. And you have all of these character building things, and you get all of these great aspects of the show. And then you get to that last season, and because the person who wrote the story originally did not finish that book, you get screenwriters who don't know the show. It's just like Star Wars sequels. You don't know it, so you don't know how to build off of it. And it was almost as if like they didn't watch the show prior to that last season, and everything was a complete 180. And it was almost as if they just totally forgot the character arc they had created for most of the main characters. And it was horrible. It was probably the worst ending to a show I've ever experienced, in my opinion. It was very sad to see. And I could probably do an entire episode on just that last season, but we'll see what happens in the future. I'm also pretty excited to see what they're going to do with the new Game of Thrones prequel series. And I hope that just makes up for... I don't think anything can ever make up for that last season, but I hope it makes up for something. And it's really good. Now on to the final topic, which is that of the Marvel Universe. Now, from this point on, if you do not want to hear spoilers for either Moon Knight or Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, then you're going to want to pause and come back later after you've watched them, because I'm going to be talking all about the spoilers. Now, over the past week, the series finale of Moon Knight aired, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness came out, and they were absolutely awesome. Now, Moon Knight is a very different take on anything superhero with Marvel. I have not seen anything like it, and that's the different that I'm looking for. Like, it was so different, and I was very pleased. Episode 5, when he is in the asylum, was a complete mind flip. It was awesome. It was cool how they used a split personality psychological mental issue to play into him being a superhero. And then it was crazy to see that in the series finale that he has a third personality, which is basically like a hitman. Now, because I'm a sucker for the fight scenes, one of the coolest scenes in the series finale was when Mark and Steven were now coinciding and in the same body and being able to fight and go back and forth between Steven and Mark, and it was just so cool to see. In all, I think Moon Knight was great. I am so excited to see what they're going to do for season 2. Obviously, the third personality is there and present and is like a hitman, so we're going to see what's going to happen with that. And I'm just really excited to see what they're going to do with the show, because there's so much potential to do such great things with it. Now on to Doctor Strange. Now, again, I'm going to say it. This is going to be spoilers, so if you do not want to hear anything before watching the movie, stop now. There are still many movies I hope to see this year, but as of right now, Doctor Strange probably takes the cake. And even though it's only May and we're almost halfway through the year, it's still probably the best movie I've seen so far this year. It was absolutely amazing. Cinematically, the story was great, and everything they're going ahead with Doctor Strange is just insane. To start off, the entire multiverse aspect of this movie was just mind-blowing. All of the realities that they were trickling through as they were traveling through the multiverse. I mean, at one point in the movie, him and someone else are just going through at least 7, 8, maybe 9 universes, and it's insane. You're seeing all of the universes. Like, there's a paint universe where everyone's just paint. Ones where, like, it's just entirely just grass. It's insane. One of the craziest things that is mentioned in the movie is that they made reference to that if when you dream, you see yourself somewhere else, that's you seeing yourself in a different universe. And I thought that was just so cool because, you know, when you do dream, you do see yourself doing things. So now it's like, if that was to be a real thing, that you're seeing yourself in a different universe. That's just so cool. Also, one of my favorite things out of the entire movie, if not my favorite, is that of the Illuminati. I think that was absolutely fantastic. Now, the Illuminati seems to be that universe's version of the Avengers or whatever, and it seems like Doctor Strange and these select people created the Illuminati to protect the multiverse. Now, in that universe, it seems that this version of the Avengers are the protectors of the multiverse, which is interesting. And I'm really hoping that they bring that Illuminati aspect back to the Marvel movies in the future. If not, have like an entirely separate movie by itself of the Illuminati. I think it'd be great. I loved seeing that John Krasinski was Mr. Fantastic. I loved that Peggy Carter was the first Avenger. And then to top it off, you have Charles Xavier himself just walking in, or actually, should I say, rolling in his wheelchair. I was just floored. And I did see a leak that was going to be in the movie, so it kind of ruined it. But then once I saw it in theaters, it didn't ruin it. It was just so good. Now, as everyone saw, Wanda was the villain, and she was the Scarlet Witch in this movie, and she was so powerful. And it was crazy to see all the stuff she did, and it was awesome. I know I keep repeating myself and saying the words crazy, cool, awesome, fantastic, but that's just how excited I am to have seen this movie. Rare's the occasion nowadays that you do get to see a really good movie and something that is like top of the list for you, and that movie was top of the list for the Marvel movies. I'm super excited to see where they go forward with Doctor Strange. At the end of the movie, it seems like there's going to be a lot more coming with the multiverse stuff, and it's just going to be so awesome. Now, I could go on forever about Doctor Strange. I could talk here for hours about how excited I am about it, but I think we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you for tuning in and listening to my first episode on this podcast. Now, don't get too mad at me if you don't agree with my opinions. They are my opinions, and if you have yours, I absolutely respect that. Now, no matter what platform you're listening to this on, I would love to hear your opinions on this, so be sure to leave it in the comments. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next Finkle Cast.